Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lisa and welcome to my channel, The House of Jane. Today I'm going to show you the easiest way to sew twisty headbands. One of them is with one piece of fabric, the other is with two pieces of fabric. We're going to use this stretching knit fabric and you'll see how easy this is to achieve this cute little look for the summertime. Keep your hair out of your face, use it for exercise or removing your makeup. Everybody needs headbands, so let's get started, okay? The first headband we're going to make uses only one piece of fabric. I'm using a knit, which is very stretchy. It'll stretch around your head, very easy to use when sewing. This piece is 20 inches lengthwise, 8 inches width. If you'd like a thinner headband, you can just decrease the width to about 7 or 6 inches. An average head size is about 22 inches around the circumference. So you take your measurements and then subtract 2 inches. And that's how I got the 20 inches across. What you do is you cut your piece of fabric and you fold it in half, right sides together. Line up your seams. And since knit is very kind of slippery to work with, I like to use Wonder clips and just pin together. It just makes sewing a straight line all the more easier, and your fabric won't shift as much. So what I'm going to do is just pin the whole length of the fabric, seams together. And I use a polyester thread when I sew knit fabrics because it has more give than cotton, and I find it's sturdier and it doesn't break. So I'm just going to go right down, pin these two pieces together. You know, as you can see, it's harder to use knits than a cotton just because it's flimsier. And the stitch I'm going to use on the sewing machine, you can easily use a straight stitch, but I prefer to use either a zigzag stitch or an overlock stitch. So for this particular project, I am going to use my overlock stitch on my machine. Okay, let's take it to the sewing machine. Okay, I'm at my machine and I decided to use a simple zigzag stitch to go down the length of the fabric. Since this is really a thin knit, a zigzag will be easier than an overlock stitch. So here we go. I just go straight down at a 1/4 of an inch seam. So now you take your fabric and turn it inside out. And what we're going to do, I'm going to put the seam in the middle of the fabric, right straight down the middle. And I'm going to turn it down towards the cutting mat. Then I'm going to fold in half. Make sure you have the seam on the outside. Okay, that's the biggest foot stomper here I want to tell you. Is the seam should be on the outside and in the middle. Then I'm going to take my fabric. This is real important. I'll show you twice. I'm going to move up that seam to this edge. keeping my ends matched. So I'm going to have a little flap of fabric here. I'm going to fold it towards the back, and I'm going to have a little flap on the bottom, and I'm going to fold it towards the front. Line up my edges and sew across. Let me show you one more time. Seam is down. I'm going to fold in half. Seam is on the outside. I'm going to line up my edges, just like that. Then I'm going to move the fabric so the seam touches this folded edge. I'm going to take this extra fabric, fold it around the back, lining up my edges. I'm going to take this extra fabric, line it up to the front. And as you can see, I have all the edges nice and neatly together. Now a lot of people sew right across, which is fine. And that's, you know, your headband's going to come out just fine. But I like just to make a little curve when I go from end to end, because I find that the headband lays flatter on my head. So I'm just going to make like a rainbow stitch, straight stitching, just like that. So let's take it to the machine and we'll finish the project. So what I did after I sewed my little curved line is I just cut some of the bulk off, being careful not to get into the stitch line. And we are totally finished. Turn it right side out, your seam is inside, and you are ready to rock it and wear it. See how easy that was? The second headband I'm going to make today uses 2 pieces of fabric. Like the last one, my length is 20 inches long, and this time I want a more narrower width, so I'm going to use 5 inches across. I lay out my fabric, right sides together, and I pin. I prefer to use Wonder clips, but you can use straight pins. It's not a problem. It just makes sewing this knit fabric easier on your machine. It stays together. Even though we're just doing one straight line, I just like the security of having the fabric clipped together. It's just easier for me to handle. So again, right sides together. I use a polyester thread because I find I get less breakage, more give with a polyester thread. And I'm going to use an overlock stitch on my sewing machine. A lot of people use overlock or zigzag stitch, whatever you're comfortable with. It just makes the fabric give easier when you're wearing it, and it gives a nice clean look. There we go, we got everything pinned nicely, and we're going to go over to the sewing machine and just sew straight down. I'm going to use a 1/4 inch seam, and let's get started. Okay, now I have the two pieces at my sewing machine. I'm going to use an overlock stitch and just do the length of the fabric. So let's get started. Here we go. Okay, now we're simply going to turn the fabric inside out. I find it easier just to use my fingers. Some people use a safety pin, but I just think it's just easier to do it this way. Okay, first one. Okay. Again, you can press if you want, but since this is such a stretchy knit, I don't even think it's worth it. So, I have the first piece laid up, seam right in the middle, facing up. I take the second piece and make sure the seam is in the middle of the fabric, and I'm going to paste it face down and make a cross. So you have your seams facing each other. And I'm simply going to go fold it in half, seams touching, and then I'm going to take this, fold it in half, and I'm going to make sure my seams are going to touch, just like that. Then I'm going to take this piece and bring it over to the side. And the simplest way to end this project and attach the pieces is just lining up your edges and sewing straight across. So now that I've sewed the edges together, I'm just going to trim the bulk very carefully. And then turn it inside out, and you have your finished twisty headband, all ready to wear. So these are the two finished projects, one from one piece of material and the other from two. Let's just try it out. As you can see, I'm kind of goofy. I like how it looks. I think you'll like how it looks too. It's an easy project to do, and it's great for summer. So have fun. Please like and comment and subscribe. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this video. This was my first instructional tutorial, and it was hard. There are probably many parts that are going to be cut out, but you know, it was a learning experience, and I thought it'd be nice to teach you how to sew something so easy that you wouldn't want to pay money for it in the future. So enjoy. Bye bye.